Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And again, Mr. Lutnick, thank you for your symbol of resiliency. It really is quite remarkable. Thank you for sharing even those most personal moments, because I'm sure it is hard to do no matter how many times you've done it. So thank you. I want to go as fast as I can. So if you can help me by being short answers, that would be great. I could cover more territory. Do you believe that the investments that we've made in the CHIPS and Science Act should be preserved?
I think they're an excellent down payment. As a structure, I think we need to get it right. I think we need to review them and get it right. But as the way the Congress has said it, it's an excellent down payment in our ability to bring semiconductor manufacturing back to America.
Okay, that's good to hear, because the president has said a little differently on that point, so good to hear. And then on NOAA, do you believe in keeping NOAA together and its responsibilities together?
Yes.
Okay, we're hearing that maybe they're going to try to separate some of it out and put it in Interior. You would fight that?
I want to do it right, and right now Commerce is doing it right. We understand how to do it, and I expect to continue to understand how to do it. So I have no interest in separating it. That is not my on my agenda.
Good to hear. I believe we need a NOAA Organic Act. Believe it or not, it's 60% of your budget, and there is no underlying policy in the law about NOAA. So I think the way that my colleagues and I get good fisheries management is to put that into the law and say it's demanded, not what the whim of every scientist that comes along with the new administration. But we'll talk about that later. Okay, let's turn to the rulemaking that we're talking about. I see you as a big rulemaker in a critical area, AI and exports, and the challenges that we face as a nation. So I'm trying to get to who you are deep down about this, right? How are you going to go about this really challenging task? Because I have some ideas about what I think make good principles here and why it's so important, because if you want to move fast, you have to be collaborative. I know other people think you can just my way or the highway, but usually that doesn't work. And so the ramifications, the best thing that we can do is work together collaboratively like we did on CHIPS and Science. Okay, so did you advise the president or anyone in his administration on his meme coins?
I did not.
Okay. Can you help me on this Treasury issue, this little fight between Cantor Fitzgerald and CME, the settling of treasuries at the London Exchange? I don't understand this as it relates to a hierarchy of putting the United States treasuries in some drastic situation, which we did see before, right? And our debt. And the debt ceiling is this debate we're having, like, are we going to pass a debt ceiling or not? So why do you believe that settling in a London exchange would be good for U.S. treasuries?
Oh, it was just the people speaking about it didn't understand it. All U.S. treasuries are held by banks of the Federal Reserve in the United States of America. They can't leave. So whether software is written, wherever it's written, the treasuries themselves, they always stay in America. The settling of treasury futures, of course, is in America. The partner Cantor Fitzgerald chose was the London Stock Exchange, which of course has been registered with the CME properly since the year 2000. So it was just a lack of understanding, good for the press, bad for knowledge. They just got it wrong.
I personally don't think this is, look, somebody tried to make my state the deep pockets on an Enron default, and I didn't appreciate it, and I passed a new law against the manipulation. So I know this very well. And in fact, the Treasury Secretary just got asked by my colleague, Senator Cornyn, in a hearing last week what he thought about this. And he was like, no, it shouldn't be ever. U.S. treasuries in a debt hierarchy of a failure should never have London making decisions before we make decisions. And so I'll ask you more for the record about that, but I think Mr. Bessent got it right, and I hope that we can get a better answer from you. On the one-to-one issue, I get that Tether had a problem. They basically weren't. As a stable coin exchange, you came in, the CFTC fined them, and then you came into the picture. And so my question is, are you prepared? Do you think the market needs to comply with audits about whether one-to-one ratios really exist on stable coins?
I believe stable coins, U.S. dollar stable coins, should be audited, should be completely backed by U.S. treasuries, 100%.
But how do we prove that if necessary is my question.
Well, an audit, U.S. audit, and one-to-one backed by U.S. treasuries. And lastly, you can't change the rules, meaning if someone has bought the stable coin, you can't change the price, right? If someone's made a deposit with you, you can't say on withdrawal you're going to change the price.
So you really believe in a robust audit process and more opening than it exists today?
For sure.
Thank you. Okay, did you ever own Tether?
A Tether? No.
Any Tether? Any backdoor? Did you own Tether?
Cantor Fitzgerald, is that the correct? Me? No. Cantor Fitzgerald has no equity in Tether.
I'm not trying to be clever here. I'm trying to get, did you or Cantor Fitzgerald own Tether? Other than the one-to-one backing.
So, sorry, I'm trying to answer.
Did you as an investor ever invest or own Tether, or did anybody at Cantor Fitzgerald, other than the one-to-one backing, own Tether?
Cantor Fitzgerald owns a convertible bond with Tether. So it has a bond with Tether.
Okay. So now back again to this big task on export controls and thwarting China and dealing with this AI problem and all of the various interests. I mean, I do have some, concerns too. I'm a big crypto person in general, as I said, CFTC oversight. But this issue about Tether and the amount of illicit market funding of Tether, the analysts who do this work now, I'm for a more robust system, but the analysts who do it now think that as much as $19 billion on Tether could be illicit activity by the North Koreans, the Russians, the Chinese. And so what do we do about that? What is your solution?
So the number one instrument of the world of criminals is the US dollar. The number two is the euro. So these are just the things that people use. So Tether is the largest stable coin. So criminals use it more than Circle, which is the second largest, as a ratio of the same. It's like blaming Apple because criminals use Apple phones. It's just a product. We don't pick on the US Treasury because criminals use dollars. So I think it's just a product. They are, and I've asked them to, and they are signed up with all U.S. federal law enforcement. They follow all federal law enforcement instantly.
So that's like saying that if you get a request from the FBI or DOJ, you're going to comply with maybe that wallet is involved in illicit activity. I'm asking you a different question. When you have know your customers and anti-money laundering requirements, why aren't we taking more seriously a potential $19 billion illicit market that's going against the United States? So obviously we have other ways to track dollars, and we use those, and that is how we're successful. We've passed a couple of things recently on fentanyl that have really helped us track and basically crack down on this. But on Tether, it's a big illicit market. It's potentially $19 billion. So I'm wanting to know from you, because again, it's back to this whole crypto oversight, export controls. What are you going to do? What do you recommend we do to try to get a handle on that?
So in my due diligence and Cantor Fitzgerald's due diligence, Tether did no business with anyone who wasn't KYC appropriate. The fact that at some point their product was bought by someone and used it inappropriately, I think it's important for us.
Do secondary markets need rules here?
Oh, it's entirely secondary market, but I think what we can do.
Secondary market need rules, because my chairman's going to cut me off. I'm over my time, so thank you. But could you just answer that? You can answer it for the record, or you can answer it now.
I think AI tools used by the U.S. government running through the blockchain of stablecoin issuers will rid the world of criminals using blockchain for illicit activity. Our ability to oversee that blockchain and rip through it with AI tools will eliminate it.
Thank you for that answer, and we'll follow up. But we need an aggressive, the complexity here on conflict of interest, not you per se, but in general, is a very big challenge here. So thank you so much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.